Welcome back. 73% of South Africans will not have enough money to carry themselves into the new year. That is according to Debt Rescue's recent study. The last quarterly survey polled around 1,200 South Africans and saw many buying gifts and putting them on credit. The study also revealed that 75% of people's incomes goes towards servicing debt, and this is concerning. Debt Rescue COO Annaline from Poel joins us now for this conversation. Annaline, thank you so much for your time this evening. It really is disconcerting, the information that's being given regarding how 73% of South Africans will not have enough money to carry themselves into the new year. Where are we getting it wrong? Is it circumstantial, or can we do something about it?
Good evening, Faith. Thank you so much for having me. A large amount of it currently is circumstantial. As we all know, the last 18, 20 months have completely thrown the world massive curveballs. And a developing economy like our own obviously sees the impact a lot harder than most other economies would. And what has happened is we've seen, the record unemployment numbers. Cost of living has risen exponentially, and we've seen things like currently in Gauteng, our fuel price is sitting at over 20 Rand. So that is definitely beyond anybody's control. And a lot of the job losses, reduced incomes, industries, the lockdowns that have had impact on industries that were closing, etc. Nobody has those kind of reserves to support them for indefinite periods of time, as they've had to face in the last couple of months. So it's been an incredibly difficult period. And for most people, this is just really beyond their control.
Yeah. Are we underestimating the severity of the situation? Annaline, you're speaking about 73% is a large number of South Africans not being able to even have an income to carry them into the new year. So does that mean that a significant portion of us are living on credit? And how long can we sustain this reality for?
Well, it's very difficult to say how long, but if we just had to think about it, it couldn't be for that long. One of the other statistics we can look towards is that of the National Credit Regulator, and almost 40% of credit active consumers have impaired credit records, meaning that they are behind on at least one of their payments for a period of time. So that is indicative of what the credit situation is out there. Is consumers are not only incurring debt and obtaining credit, but are struggling to repay the debt that they have. And it's really a very, very dire situation out there for consumers, because we are seeing more and more that there is more month than money. Consumers are having to take out payday loans or rely on some form of credit to purchase the necessary living expenses to put food on the table at the end of the day.
Yeah, it says something significant about the inequalities that still exist within our society. Therefore, if we have to break it down in terms of exactly what does this mean for an ordinary South African, you and I, what does this exactly mean? Does that mean more South Africans are going to bed hungry? More South Africans do not have a way out? And what are the long-term effects of such a reality?
Indeed. There's no other way than to come to that conclusion. The reality is consumers are struggling. They were struggling before this pandemic hit, the world. And this has just exacerbated it, and it's made it's so difficult for people to just get by from one month to the other, to make sure that they can pay their living expenses, make sure that they've got food on the table, and are able to pay their necessary living expenses and just get by. It's very, very tough out there.
Annaline, tomorrow is New Year's. A lot of times we like speaking about the New Year as if it's happening next week, but it really is in less than a few hours. In that instance, come the 1st of January, people will not be as necessarily in a celebratory mood as it would be right now. New year, new debt, or same old debt, many would say. And this is just the reality of many South Africans. What advice could you possibly give to the many South Africans, over 73% of them, that are currently struggling right now to make ends meet, that don't even know how to take their money into tomorrow? Because that's the new year. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. The best way for us to still get a grip on what our financial circumstances are is to start with the basics, namely being, doing a budget. And our advice is get an understanding of what your true financial circumstances are. One of the easiest ways to do this is to take a few months of your bank statements and on a piece of paper, split it into three. On one side, put your income, whatever your forms of income are. Make sure that you know what those amounts are. Then look at your reasonable living expenses, but look at what you're currently spending your money on. A lot of times in our budgets, we have these expenses that we forget about. This could be anything from takeouts or subscriptions we have to services we don't need anymore or haven't used in forever. Start canceling those kind of things, and making sure that we have a very good understanding of what our expenses are. And then your third column will be your debt. These are going to be your home loan, if you have one, your vehicle finance, your credit cards, store cards, personal loans, and the like. And look at what your outstanding balances are and what the minimum is that you're required to pay that debt every single month. And from that, you can start getting a better understanding of what your circumstances are. And from there, you can start taking the next steps before you incur for the credit. Make sure that you understand, can you afford it? What is the cost of credit? What interest rates are you getting? What fees are attached to it, etc. So we start getting a control of our personal finances and understanding truly what our own circumstances are.